Hello again and welcome to the Franchise Everything podcast, where we talk about everything and anything franchising. And today we are once again at the Coochie Hydrogreen National Headquarters office here in Canberra, and we're joined by CEO Ania Sienko and Franchise and Marketing Manager Grace Lindsey. Did I get that right?
You did.
Yeah.
Sure did.
Welcome.
Hi, how are you?
Very well, thanks. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Pleasure. Now we are going to talk about the franchise business model this morning. So it's been great chatting to a number of franchise owners. If you're following our content, you'll see a number of Coochie Hydrogreen franchise owners we're talking to, talking about them in business and that sort of stuff. But what we really want to talk on at the moment is the franchise business model, as we have a phone ringing away, which is but that's what happens when you're in a live office and everything, which is part of the experience.
Yeah.
Okay, so the franchise business model. So what does Coochie Hydrogreen do? So let's start with that. For people who haven't come across the brand at all, what does it do?
Yeah, so our franchise, basically what we do is we offer a service. It's called the Lawn Care Program. And what that is essentially applying fertilisers and other nutritional products to customers' lawns, as well as various products that deal with weeds, pests and disease. So what we're trying to do is create a lush, healthy, green lawn for our clients, essentially weed-free, pest-free. Something similar to like a golf course, but maybe not quite as high end.
looking like a golf course, all right, because everyone wants a lawn like that.
Yeah.
And the business has been around for quite a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, so we're coming up to, I think we're close to 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
30 years, okay. So let's start in the business. So you talk about, I know we talk quite a bit about the scalability of the business. So and I know it's a key thing you're always wanting to talk about as far as the franchise business model goes for a franchise business opportunity seeker. They want to understand. And I know you can go from anything from a single franchise or to a multi-site franchise. So how does a business work from that perspective?
Yeah, I guess we tailor. I guess it's tailored to all sorts of people, right? If you want to be one man, one truck and essentially work for yourself, we've got the perfect opportunity for you. But if you're also a little bit entrepreneurial and you want to have multiple staff and multiple regions, you can do that as well. So our biggest franchisee has 13 franchise territories, multiple trucks and employees that they run through that.
Does it take them long to get to that sort of size? Like 13 territories?
It depends how good they are. Yeah, I think.
So someone coming into it right now, for example, looking at it, is that a bit the illusions of grandeur to think, wow, I'm going to have 13 territories, and you like them to start off small and go from there? Well,
look, I guess what we do is we set out a bit of a budget forecast for them and show them what they can achieve. And we usually say it takes them, I guess, 3 to 4 years to get to capacity as one man, one truck. Mm-hmm. In saying that, you can do it much faster if you've got that, I guess, business mindset and you're investing in advertising and marketing I guess investing in the business. Yeah, so I think to get to 13, look, I'm sure it would take a few years, but if, you come in with the right capital, you can actually buy existing businesses
that are already operating with team members. Yeah. So how does it work from a marketing perspective, Grace, from your end with multi-site operators? Does that change the marketing at all for you, or does it you just multiply it across different locations?
Usually we're just multiplying it across different locations, but we really want to help support franchisees make the most out of each region that they've got. So really explore all options in one territory, make sure they've got as many customers as they can in that one before they then go and purchase the next one.
And that's normally the positioning of the advice on it.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we really like to localise the marketing, right, depending on the region. So, if you've got multiple territories, they're not always in the same location. Usually they are, but, with our franchisee that has 13, he's across, Gold Coast, Brisbane and Sunshine Coast.
Okay, so fair spread.
Yeah.
So you would like to localise each campaign. Obviously what you're going to do in Noosa is going to be different to what you do in the middle of Brisbane.
So when we're talking about scalability of the business, so what sort of conversations are you having? So if someone's got one franchise and they're doing pretty well now, what do they do? Do they contact you and start saying, look, I really want to grow? Or are they talking to you from a marketing perspective about filling clients for a different region? How does that work? How does someone start to take that step forward from within the business?
Yeah, look, we work quite closely with our franchisees, so we're looking at their business and how they're going and what opportunities they have around them. So it's either them coming to us or us going to them, seeing an opportunity for them. For example, like the region next door might be available, or they're just showing signs of wanting to grow and they'll come see us and say, look, I want to buy another territory. And we I guess we help facilitate that and show them.
Yeah, because all your territories are exclusive territories, aren't they?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what about the profitability? So if we can touch on some profitability of the business and how that looks,
Yeah.
because you've had, how many businesses have you got now? How many franchise?
I think we've got about 68 franchisees across 124 franchise territories.
So it's obviously like there's a bunch of franchise owners with multiple.
Yeah.
So what does the profitability look like, and how does that function within the business?
Yeah. So look, one man, one truck at capacity. They should be doing about 400 customers, which works out to about 10 jobs a day. Income-wise, that's about 300,000 in income, and that
Obviously,
leaves
this differs depending on price and timing and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, this is based on our average numbers,
Yeah.
and the profitability on that is about 200,000. So really, you're earning at capacity about 200,000. So that's one man, one truck.
Yep.
If you own multiple businesses, essentially you just multiply that by the number of franchise territories, assuming they're all at capacity.
Is that harder to do with staff and that sort of stuff and training and?
Look, it can be. Obviously, you have to factor in an employee cost for each additional territory that you have, because you need someone in there running it for you. So that profitability does reduce. Typically the type of employee you're looking at hiring is probably around the 60 to 70K mark. So you still have, quite
an overhead there.
You do, but it's still quite a high profit margin. I mean, it's still a 33% return.
There's a fair bit left behind.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's interesting. We've interviewed 3 franchise owners this morning in podcast, which are great stories, individual stories. 2 of them made the comment that when they spoke to you originally, Anya, that it almost felt too good to be true. When they had the initial chat with you about what you were telling them, that sounds like a common thing. If 2 out of 3 have said that to me already.
Yeah, people often say that.
How do you deal with that?
Well, look, really, I really like to get new franchisees or people leads that I'm talking to actually go and speak to other franchisees in the system. I often will give them a bunch of numbers. I'll give them 20 different phone numbers of franchisees that have been there for 5 minutes to those that have been there for 20 years.
Yep.
And they can really make those inquiries with the actual franchisees. So, they're really getting that information back firsthand from real franchisees that are achieving those results. But yeah, I often hear that they think it's too good to be true, and what aren't they seeing?
How do you answer that with suspicion? Because people are very suspicious, even more so now than ever. So I don't know if you hear it as well, Grace.
Yeah, I think it's really putting them onto the actual franchisees and, getting them out in a truck with the franchisee so they can really just
see it for themselves.
Yeah.
We have sort of countless stories over the last 5 years from franchisees that have started from nothing and grown to really amazing
success stories.
So we're really happy and love sharing those stories of franchisees that have been super successful, and then it's just up to the person inquiring to talk to those people themselves as well.
Yeah, it's really important. You hear too often of people buying franchises without really doing enough due diligence and investigating and talking to existing franchisees is probably the number one thing really on the list, isn't it?
And often people tell me after they've spoken to 4 or 5 that every one of them said the same thing. So it's really nice to hear that it's all being echoed throughout the franchise group. It's not one success story.
Yeah.
It's, they're all succeeding.
Yeah, that's great. How did you go through COVID? So what did that look like? Well, we've got to stop talking about COVID all the time, obviously, and I know that someone pulled me up on that the other day. He said, COVID was 3 years ago, stop talking about it. But it is a thing because it's part of the cycle of the businesses, I think, and seeing how business have stood up over years, whether it's GFC, whether it's COVID, how did the business go through that period and tough cycles beforehand?
Yeah. Look, I guess we were really worried, as was everyone, when COVID first hit, because we didn't know what it would mean for our business. We were really fortunate in that we were one of the only businesses or the few businesses that could continue to operate. So
because you're outdoors.
We're outdoors.
No
we're not
touch,
having contact with people. We're in and out.
Unless you
spraying.
want to, obviously.
Yeah.
Because another franchise owner we spoke to this morning says he just talks all day to people.
Yeah.
Really, to his customers. Yeah, he loves it.
I know which one that would have been.
You don't know which one. Of course you know which one that would have been.
So look, we were really worried about what that would mean for our franchisees at the start. But, really quickly we, worked out that we could continue to operate, and we actually found that, the COVID couple of years were huge for us because people were at home and they were actually able to see our franchisees, pull up at the neighbour's house and see the results on the lawn. So what we were finding, we were getting a huge amount of inquiry from just seeing truck sightings and seeing franchisees out and about.
Lots more inquiry just from, organic.
Did it change your marketing at all, your approach that you're doing with it?
We were quite fortunate. We didn't have to, I guess, try as much to get clients. We had more people coming to us, particularly in what are usually downtimes. Like we're a seasonal business, so usually in winter it's a little bit quieter than what it is in spring. But I think during that COVID peak,
we saw
it was
spring
just
highs
all year round.
all year round.
The marketer's dream.
Yeah. It was
All of a
a
sudden
very
you're getting,
busy
Grace, all
couple
that stuff
years.
you're doing is amazing. Well, it's just happening naturally.
But we also found that we were then able to focus a little bit more on advertising the franchise. So the business and the service grew a lot during that time, but also the number of franchise owners that came on.
Which with that roaming billboard that you're talking about just keeps multiplying it, doesn't it?
Yeah. So
And I think, with what was happening and the amount of job losses there were in certain industries, it attracted people to our business.
You've added a lot of franchise owners in context over the last 3 years, haven't you? Through that period.
Yeah.
it's more than double.
More than double.
Yeah, I think over the last 5 years we've gone from about 20 franchisees to almost 70.
Yeah.
So it's
That's
grown very
significant.
fast.
So as far as the marketing goes for lead gen, it's interesting that you said that about, I'm just thinking about how people find your service. It is interesting to think that if people are working from home more often, they're probably, on the weekends, they're probably seeing this amazing lawn and probably don't speak to their neighbours because no one speaks to their neighbours anymore, do they? So we're told.
Yeah.
And seeing that green lawn, wondering how it's happening, but then when they're actually seeing that truck turn up, that's actually a key moment, is it? Have you done any furthermore in changing designs on the truck or anything like that? Is there anything you do differently now on decals and that sort of stuff for the truck from previous?
Yeah, look, we had a little bit of a brand refresh around 5 years ago and have these beautiful new trucks out on the road. And obviously now we've got a lot more of them than what we used to have. And we really empower our franchisees to use them as a billboard and drive around in them, get seen by them. Sometimes people might see them and think they're funny or might take a picture of them, but all publicity is good. So we really empower our franchisees to get them out as much as possible. But we really like at head office to complement what our franchisees are doing on the ground with national social and digital campaigns that sort of reinforce the messaging that we want to get out about, creating green, healthy, weed-free lawns. And I guess what we do through head office, supports
what
they're doing on the ground.
So as far as that touches on a good point, support there, what sort of support within the business model do you provide Coochie Hydrogreen franchise owners? And I suppose it differs from ones who've been in 5 years, 10 years, whatever, compared to brand new ones. So what does that support structure look like?
Yeah, I guess with Greenfield, they're the brand new ones that start in a new region. We really like to hold their hand through the whole process. Often they're people that haven't been in business before and have no business skills really. So we, cover all of their training. So, whether it's admin, sales, marketing, customer service, technical, operational, we really hold their hand through the whole process. And throughout that first year, we meet with them quite regularly. So we, in the first 3 months, it's probably multiple times a week that we have contact with them, whether it's training or just seeing how they're going. But then ongoing in that first year, it's usually weekly. We'll have, a scheduled half an hour to an hour catch up with them. And in those meetings, we talk about, any issues they have, any help they need. But predominantly, they're sort of focused on helping them generate leads because they're starting in a new area with 0 customers.
So it's a real marketing.
It is, because that's the focus in the first year. Like often people think they're coming into this business to spray lawns, but in the first year, you're actually out there selling and prospecting. So, we really like to support people, to be able to generate that initial, first 100 customers or first 200 customers.
I can imagine.
Once you have that, that's when your word of mouth inquiry starts to grow because, you've got people out there talking about what you're doing.
It's interesting talking to, I think, Kenny this morning, one of your franchise partners in Albury, Wodonga, saying that when, I think in the first 2 weeks, I think he said he had three clients or something or 3 customers and he's like, that moment of have I done the right thing or whatever, but then just trusting in the process, letting it go. Getting that marketing rolling. So what sort of campaigns do you do for new owners into new territories like that?
Yeah, so we sort of treat each region separately. We look at the kind of area that it is, whether it's regional or metro, whether they're surrounded by other franchisees or whether they're sort of by themselves. And yeah, we focus on a really strong brand awareness campaign and lead generation campaign at the start. So that usually involves quite a heavy focus on social media marketing as well as digital. And normally that's complemented with some like transit or outdoor advertising. So in some regional areas, you might see Coochie Hydrogreen advertised on a bus or on a billboard. And we really focus on building a presence online. So often a lot of our new customers come from seeing us on socials, and we have a really good system in place that allows us to funnel people through and introduce people to our brand in these new areas.
It's interesting. I think you've got a huge advantage, I think, with your marketing with that before and after thing. It's such a basic, it's a basic marketing premise, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is what it was like before. I see a lot of your stuff on Instagram with that before, after. I think nothing must work like that.
Well, the results are just amazing to see.
I remember when, and it's probably the same for Anya, but when I first started with the business, I wasn't really sure what we did until I went out on a truck in Canberra with one of the founding franchisees called Brett McLeod. And we were just driving down a street in Red Hill, a suburb here, and you could just spot the Coochie lawns a mile away. Like it was beautiful green lawns. And it was pretty cool. Like it was winter still here, and you could still tell the difference between our lawns and not. So yeah, the before and afters, and I guess the visual aspect of what we do is a huge selling point for us. And yeah, we encourage all of our operators to get as much content of themselves. So
of course.
Their own lawns.
Yeah, I see some other individual franchise partner Instagram accounts and stuff like that in action. It's great to see.
Yeah, it works so well.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons I get the prospective new franchisees to get in a truck and go out with someone for a day, because once they see what we do and the results we produce, they're sold. It's, it works so well and it's so visual.
Excellent. So as far as that support goes, what is the initial training like? Because I know we spoke to a couple of franchise owners who actually, one had an interest in horticulture, another one actually got a certificate in horticulture, but that's not necessarily the norm at all, I gather. So what sort of training do you provide from a technical perspective and that sort of stuff for someone brand new getting into the business?
Yeah, so look, they do 3 weeks training in an actual region in a truck with one of our trainers or franchisees, where they're going out and actually spraying real life Coochie lawns. They're able to quote, so they're practicing quoting. But the 3 weeks is quite a structured 3 weeks, and we go through different aspects almost every day, from learning how to assess turf varieties, working out what weeds are in the lawn, what grubs, what to put on those lawns. So it's 3 weeks of quite intense training, I guess teaching the boys and girls how to assess the lawn and what's happening in the lawn. But I guess after that time, like they're usually pretty comfortable to go out on their own after that time. But after that time, they've got access to our, technical training operations manager, other franchisees. So we, usually buddy them up with a few mentors or people around their region, franchisees that are also, dealing with similar lawn issues that they can speak to. But we've also got our product suppliers that will actually come out and have a look. So if you're having a problem you can't deal or you can't work out, they'll come out and have a look and help you assess how to fix that problem.
Yeah, it's interesting. I remember talking to one of the franchise owners up on the Gold Coast, and that sort of caught my attention there about one of your suppliers being a resource for them as well for any problems they're having with lawns, other than just calling head office here as well.
Yeah, definitely. And we always have regular training sessions for our franchisees. So, we do seasonal mix meetings every 2 months where we talk about in each region what they should be applying to the lawns, what they should be looking out for, and, talking about new products and innovating. I guess giving them that support.
I think the peer support's really important as well. I
gather they say they chit-chat a lot.
Yeah. You wouldn't want to get involved in one of their group chats. It'd be very lengthy. But, the peer support's huge. And I think especially working in a business where it could be quite isolating, working by yourself in a truck.
All day on the road by yourself, doing your quotes, invoicing, a bit of jobs and then back.
Yeah, so I think having the group of people who are in the same position as you around you is really important. So through head office, we try and organise, like annual conferences and get everyone together. We recently just had a conference up on Hamilton Island, which was fantastic, planning our Christmas parties. So we try and get everyone involved in a formal setting, but the group are really good at bringing everyone new involved into it.
And the nice thing is they genuinely all want to help. All the franchisees want their neighbouring franchisees to be successful and do well because, having a successful region producing beautiful lawns beside you really benefits your region.
Do you think that's partly also that collegiate thing comes from having exclusive territories as well, that they're not worried about anyone competing with them?
Definitely.
Yeah, because you see some brands struggling.
There's no
with that.
competition. It's their territory, it's their clients in there.
So when we were setting up here yesterday, I heard you on a call to someone who I was clearly asking you lots of questions about the business, which is great to listen. So those sort of thing. You'd get a lot of inside information then about actually people's wants and needs. What is attracting them? What is the main question, their focus of what they're coming to you? Because you must take a lot of phone calls and talk to a lot of people about this stuff. What's attracting them?
I think the key thing, I guess, is wanting to make a change from being in employment, working for someone else. Usually they just want to, take control of their own lives and their future. So, it's wanting that change. And
balance.
I think work-life balance is a big one.
It's thrown around a lot in franchising. Isn't it? Work-life balance. Every franchise offers a work-life balance.
Well, I think the nice thing about our franchise is it is very flexible. If you want to take a long weekend, you do a few extra jobs each side of the weekend and you can have a Friday off.
So you can truly structure that
really
balance
can.
for yourself.
And we also do have built into our cycles 4 weeks annual leave. So, we call them cycle breaks. But there's not many small businesses that, you can stop
so you
and
actually
have
program
4 weeks.
in 4 weeks annual leave.
That's right.
Really important for a small business owner, I think.
That's right. So that flexibility is a big one. But, obviously at the end of the day, you want to have that flexibility, that work-life balance, but you still need to make money. So the great thing about this business is that it is really highly profitable. And at the end of the day, when you do, grow your business, you've got a really valuable asset there as well. So not only are you building high profits, cash flow, you've got a really valuable asset that you can sell at some point in time.
Excellent. I think we've covered some great things on the Coochie business model. Lots of very happy franchisees that I've been speaking to, obviously, which is great to see everyone telling their story. Love hearing all those amazing stories. Grace and Anya, thanks so much for joining us today and inviting us in here.
Great.
Thank you. And that's it for the Franchise Everything podcast this time. Once again, if you like what we're doing here, you'd like to see more of it, please leave a like, subscribe, review, all that sort of stuff. That'd be much appreciated and helps us grow this to get you more information and great stories in franchising. See you soon.